Hello and welcome to another episode of Amon Sheeran's Part Radio. Today we have on another illustrious guest, my friend Kyle Robinson. Kyle, how are you doing tonight?
Great. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Also, Kyle is our first successful podcast guest nomination, thanks to Ryan McComb. He was our last episode, nominated Kyle, and I made it happen. So excited for that too. Shout out to Ryan.
Romance.
Yes. Kyle's also, like Ryan, another Knicks fan. Since the last episode, we finished the Sixer series. How are you feeling about our Knicks, and how are you feeling going into the next round?
So I expected to beat the Sixers. I did not expect it to be just pummel after pummel, like four straight games of just dog behavior. It was I if we can build off that momentum, I think we're going to the finals.
I absolutely agree. The favorite meme, and there's been so many of like memes and edits and hype videos. My favorite meme, if you like Dragon Ball Z, was OG Ananobi is in a hyperbaric chamber eating senzu beans, getting ready for Cade or Donovan Mitchell. So
We need him, man. He's been probably our best player throughout this series.
yeah,
It's arguable. You can make that argument.
yeah, throughout the postseason, he's been the best. Really, almost you can say best defender and up there, top two or three offensively. It's been a huge plus. But yeah, I would put him on their best player.
Every three he shoots feels like it's going in. You
Yeah,
know, when was the last time you could say that about
yeah,
OG? You
can't
know,
wait. Yeah, yeah. So
it's
right up until he got hurt, he was like really the driving force. So really exciting. Who do you think comes out of the other series, the Cavs or the Pistons?
See, I don't know because I don't know who I'd rather face.
Right.
Um, I I feel like the Cavs are going to win it, but I don't know if I like that.
Yes. I feel like they're similar in a way. I feel like um the Pistons had a better regular season, but I feel like if Harden plays well, the Cavs could be a better team in a way. So I don't know who I'd rather face really, but I think we're ready for either one.
I think the Pistons will be one of those teams that like we'll look back on this year and be like they never really had a shot of going all the way because a lot of their pieces are so young and experienced in the playoffs that you need a couple of years of like getting your shit kicked in to start like building a real competitor.
Yeah, like similar to the Knicks, like they might be a year or two early, and this might be our year. So
Mm-hmm.
we had those exits in the Eastern Conference Final and the semifinal the year before. So could be similar path for them. But yeah, exciting stuff, exciting times in New York. But let's go back to where it all started for you. Um, how did you find the sport of dodgeball?
So Gio and I, Giancarlo, have been friends for a very long time. We met in sixth grade, and he's been trying to get me to play dodgeball since the Laserland days.
Wow, OG
Mentioned
stuff.
stuff, and that's where he met like Derek and Randy and them. Uh, so he was trying to get me to play back then, and I never would, and I kept blowing him off. Me and Brett kept blowing him off, and eventually he's like, "Dude, I know you'll love it. Like, play for a season. If you hate it, like I'll cover your registration fee. Like we'll get like all the Northport guys going. Like I'm positive you guys will like it." And I paid for my registration fee, so I loved it. I never looked back and been playing ever since. Really.
So the rest is history from there. That's awesome. So you mentioned Gio and Brett were your guys from a young age. What was it like kind of being with them as Gio and now Brett have grown the LA Kick dodgeball scene so much?
It was really cool. So me and Gio played on a team called Island Boys, which he taught on, but that was the first experience that I had, like, kind of representing Long Island outside of Long Island, like going to these tournaments and stuff. Because there's a lot of high talent individuals from Long Island that would play on like their standard teams. Like Dylan Cruz has been in the scene forever, so he would come and everyone knew he was from Long Island, but there was never like a Long Island team that really went out and showed force anywhere. So shout out Gio for putting together Island Boys. We never really hit the results that we wanted, but that group of guys that we played with, all of us are now kind of in the community, like kind of known in different cities when we travel and stuff, despite going our separate ways.
Wow.
That's been cool to see. And then Brett, I don't think Brett ever gets enough credit.
I
I'm a
agree.
those semi-pro tournaments are not easy to run. I think he runs them really well, and even the Thursday leagues, like now. So this most recent league that we have is significantly more free agents than we've had before, or people like really new to playing dodgeball. And I think that's a hard league to run because when you get all veterans and stuff, people that have been in the community for so long, it runs itself.
Right.
He's doing a great job of getting all these new people in, explaining the rules to them without making them feel bad. Like there's a lot you have to think about. Uh, and he does a really good job with that. So shout out, Brett.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Brett. I think you brought up a really good point that free agents and newer players make the league harder to run. But I also think it's a great sign of a healthy league that new people are joining and friends are saying, "Hey, let me bring some more friends and join the league and grow the league." But yeah, shout out to Brett. Absolutely. Semi-pro tournaments are not easy to run, and I actually don't know how he plays in them and runs them at the same time. That's absolutely crazy to me.
Well, this is a first. So he did D League last year.
Right.
Not my D League, but this was his first year getting picked up on a team long term. I think he subbed once last year.
Okay, gotcha. But
As
still,
she ran success was the first time like as an actual player on a team. So
gotcha. Yeah. I'll put you on the spot. Are there any funny memories you have with Gio and Brett growing up that you can shout out that are safe to share?
I'll shout the time me and Gio became friends. So me and Gio got each other. I'm a twin. So him and my brother were friends before me and him were friends. But me and Gio both played in a rugby league together. We had an old English teacher, Mr. Kenny, who loved rugby, played it in college and everything. So he set up something at our middle school to play, where it was basically just a bunch of kids running around with a rugby ball. But we were on opposite teams, me and Gio, and we ran headfirst into each other, like nose to nose, just collided. Both hit the ground really hard. So everybody comes running to like check if we're okay, and me and him are on the ground hysterically laughing. And we've been really good friends ever since. Like that kind of sparked us becoming friends and be like, "Yo, you good, bro? Yeah, I'm good." That's it.
That's awesome, man. I love that. That's so funny that you guys were both just being competitive and had the same mindset. So I appreciate that. It's a good memory. You mentioned Island Boys. What was it like not only to represent the Long Island dodgeball scene, but travel with a group of friends and compete against other cities?
It was fun. We were probably one of the worst teams for a while. Like we got our shit kicked in a lot. There were times where people like Taylor Pineo would come and play with us, and we'd do a little bit better because we'd have not just Gio kind of on an island by himself. We'd have some backup for him. Or Dylan Cruz played with us as well.
Mhm.
But being in that position where we know that like we're at the floor and the only thing up is up, and we're all in it together was like the camaraderie that came from that is so almost undescribable. Like Jordan, Matt, myself, Noah, like Nikki, like we all kind of were forced to improve quickly, or the results would just keep being us getting our, you know, teeth knocked out. So it was cool to kind of like look to your left or look to your right and see someone that was putting in the exact same energy as you, the same competitiveness, and had that drive to win and that hunger, you know. Because if you look across the league at everyone that was in Island Boys, we've all gone our separate ways, really. Um, no one was the same skill level that they are now. They're like leagues ahead of where they were.
Much better. And yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. That you may not have been the best team, but maybe you improved the most based on playing tougher competition and learning. So it's a great way to look at it. Um, was there a moment for you where you realized maybe dodgeball isn't a hobby? Maybe you have some skills, have some talent for the game.
I think it was my second or third season. I was playing on a. They used to have free agent teams where like a Geo would run a team, and then it would be mostly like inexperienced or newer players, or a Derek Smith would run a team. So I was on a team like that with Dylan Cruz as the captain of it,
Mhm.
and we had made the playoffs. I think we were in the second round, and we were having. So Dylan obviously needed to play because he was the surefire best player on the team. So you want to put your best out there. So he was like not subbing. But there was a couple of us guys that were like rotating every other game. That way everyone would still get to play and what have you. And I had just come off a good game. I think I had like two or three catches in that game. Like I was feeling good about myself, but it was my turn to sit. So like I went to like step off the court. He grabbed me by my shirt. I don't want to see you leave this court again for the rest of the night. So that moment, like spurred a shit ton of confidence in me. It was one of those moments where like if I'm ever missing catches or something, it's something I can go back to and kind of reflect on like, hey, this guy's one of the best players in the world, and he wanted me on that court next to him, you know.
Yeah, that's a really great compliment. Just from anyone, but especially from a guy like Dylan, like you said, literally one of the best in the world, going to be a starter for the USA team. So that definitely put a rocket in your back. When you bring up Dylan, one thing I noticed in him, obviously, is like that dog mentality, competitive spirit, and I've seen it a lot in you too. Is that something you've always had, or something you developed after playing dodgeball for a while?
Um, I, I, I mean, I was a sports guy my whole life, played
Mhm.
baseball, everything. I think it's just in our nature, you know, when you
Yeah,
play, especially team sports, I think you just develop this love for the game itself. Like if you, and it doesn't even have to be yourself playing particularly well, but you see a teammate of yours like get out of a slump, you know, you see a great highlight made by a stranger, and you find joy and excitement from it. So I've always been on the more competitive side of things. But with that, I think I'm also someone that knows how to segment it. So I know how to
right.
like, I'm competitive as hell on the court, but I'll give you a hug right after. You know, like I'm not someone that holds any beef or animosity towards people that I'm playing against.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part about LIK is that I could share the court against, let's say we were playing against each other and go like all out, like even like talking trash, but right after we'll like dap up and then go out, hang out after, and just be cool. So that's my favorite part, I would say. Yeah, definitely. Um, do you have any goals for yourself in the dodgeball world? Anything you want to improve on or the next big milestone?
Um, well, originally a goal I set for myself was to make practice squad.
Mhm.
Since then, I've come to the conclusion that that's not in the cards for me, and I'm more or less okay with that.
Mhm.
Uh, Something that has brought me a lot of joy is like the coaching or teaching younger players aspect of it, or players that are like newer to the scene and stuff. When we travel, I travel for a team called Kraken, which is run by Matt Spadone. Shout out Matt. Our like sister team or whatever you want to call them, the girls that we play with a lot of here on Long Island is called Venom. A lot of them are players that are newer to the sport. Um, so providing like coaching and guidance to them is something that's like really enjoyable and fun to me. So that's kind of like a goal for me is to kind of see how far they can get. I think that set of girls, I mean, a couple of them just made practice squad themselves. I think that squad of girls, like the sky's the limit. And if I can play just a minor piece in helping them get there, I think that's a great goal to have.
That's awesome. That's really selfless and shows what kind of a guy you are. And one thing I spoke about when Ryan was on is how great of a not only coach but teammate. Like I don't know if we played together, but I know I've seen it. And off the court, you shared like little tips and advice, and it really goes a long way because you're a guy I would love to have on my team one day. And yeah, it's really
Yes.
doesn't go unnoticed. Definitely. Yeah. And I'm sure not only like some of these girls that are rising up, you've helped like brand new players to help them along the way too. So
Well, that's when I started. I was not very good. I was a little timid. I was a little afraid of what I was doing on the court. I always thought I was in someone's way, you know. So I don't think I would have developed as quickly at all if it wasn't players. Derek Smith, I think, is a great example of someone that like kind of instilled the dog in me when it comes to dodgeball because I've always been a competitor. But there's been times where he sat me down and was like, "That last game you played, like you know, you were scared." He's like, "What the hell are you scared of?" Says you get hit, who cares? The only way to get better is to just break through those walls. And I was like, oh, I guess you're right. You know, so if I didn't have people like that in my head giving me advice, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. So if I can do that for somebody else, that's really what the sport's all about.
yeah, pass it on, pay it forward. Um, yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but I want to get into the fun part of the podcast. We talked about some of your interests outside of dodgeball. The first one being vinyl and music. So talk to me about that. How did you get into buying vinyl?
My dad had a collection from like the like 70s and 80s.
Wow.
So up as a kid, he would always play like his favorite albums and stuff, and that kind of what got me into it. My brother's a big music nerd, so me and him would just send each other albums and we'd listen to it and stuff. Uh, so that's my preferred way to listen to music is in like an album form because of that. Because
Right.
I was so used to just the vinyl experience where you got to listen to a track all the way through. You got to listen to half the fucking vinyl. It's get to the track that you want to listen to.
Right.
More kind of like appreciation for the artist's intentions and how they wanted the music to sound together, as opposed to just like one individual song.
Yeah, I really like. I don't have a record player, but you have a few vinyl records that I really appreciate the old school experience. You get the full thing, like you were saying, like you get the cover art, the album, like the pull out with the track list. Like you said, you can't fast forward or rewind, so it's a very much a throwback experience, which I really appreciate. And it's probably, like you said, the best way to listen to music easily.
I can grab them. I have a couple of my
Yeah,
favorites.
please
So I'll
do. Show it
grab them.
off for the video.
So I got three with me here today that I thought I would show off.
All right.
So favorite album of all time is this album here by Paramore.
Okay.
It's called All We Know Is Falling. It's one that kind of helped me through like high school and into early college. It's one of those albums that I always went back to. So all time, it's my favorite album ever. The second one that I have is anyone that knows me, I'm a huge Peanuts fan. I love Snoopy. I love the whole
Oh,
gang.
Charlie Brown. Awesome.
So this was a gift. I don't know if you know Quinn in the dodgeball community.
Yes. Yes.
So Quinn gave this to me as like a hosting gift. So part of me loves it because I love Charlie Brown. Part of me loves it because it was just such a thoughtful gift.
Mhm.
And then the third,
Fantastic Christmas album, man. The
yes,
How do you say it? Guadalari?
what's that?
Guadalari? It's the composer,
Yeah.
Vincent Guadalari. Yeah.
And so when you play that vinyl, if you like put your phone up, the phone camera up to it, it
Mhm.
shows Peanuts characters like actually strumming
Oh,
instruments, dancing and stuff. It's so neat. It's a really cool gift. So
definitely.
easily like rose up my collection rankings when I got it. So shout out Quinn for that. It was a super cool gift. And then this last one is my favorite modern album. It's called Rat Saw God. It's by a band called Wednesday, which is my favorite like modern band. And I think the vinyl itself is really
Whoa, trippy. Nice. What style, what genre are they?
they're hard to like kind of classify. They're a like a folk rock band.
Okay.
Got like a little bit of that like southern twang to them, but it's mostly like heavy rock music.
Mhm. I don't have any vinyl on hand, but I want to shout out an album I listened to in full today. It was the Noah Khan new album, The
Oh, that
Great.
was yeah. I like that. I gave that. Gio's a big fan of Noah Khan,
Yeah,
so
that was one of the picks. And I also want to shout out the Netflix documentary that I'm almost done with by him. That was really cool. It shares some things about his mental health, disordered eating, as well as um, kind of just what he struggled with. His dad had a traumatic brain injury and dealing with that. So it was really kind of personable. Um, and I really just enjoyed it. It was a powerful documentary. Talk like the peak of it was him, which I think is so cool, like playing Fenway, and he grew up in New England, so that was his goal, and he was like super nervous and like it was really cool. I recommend it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Next up, another interest we share is video games. How did you get started playing video games, and what are some of your favorite all time?
First games I played was like the Pokemon series, which is still some of my favorites to this day. So I shiny hunt in those games. So I collect shiny Pokemon from like all the different generations and stuff. So that's something I'll always come back to. It's easily one of my favorite games of all time, the whole series. I got Pokemon Emerald as a kid when I was like 11 or so, and I was been playing them ever since.
Nice.
Games I play now would be like Valorant. I play with the boys. A lot of the dodgeball
Oh, nice.
Valorant players, and Meg. So the guys plus Meg. Meg's in our group. But Valorant, Pokemon, a game called EU4, if you've heard of it. It's like a grand strategy game. So you play as like an individual country and you have to make decisions and stuff based on the country.
That's similar to like Risk or Civilization.
Very similar, yeah.
All right, cool. Do you have a favorite all-time console or
Uh,
handheld?
I think
GameCube?
it was the coolest system of all time.
Yeah.
I don't own one though. I never had a game. I had a Wii, but not a GameCube. So I want to buy myself one eventually. It's a goal
Yeah,
of mine.
that would be a sick throwback. So mostly you played at friends' houses, and that's
Yeah,
how you. Yeah, yeah. I had one. I remember playing like Mario Kart Double Dash, a lot of the early Mario, or not early, but a lot of different Mario games. So like Brawl and Melee,
yeah,
you know, were so much fun. And I felt like it was the perfect like you were saying, like hang out, go to a friend's house and just game like all Saturday. Perfect console for that.
Vibes console. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the intro, the the cube. Yeah. Another thing we were talking about before we started was our shared love for pirates and history. How did you uh, grow to love history?
So my aunt is she's the reason I went into going for so I have a history degree and she's kind of the reason I went for it. Anytime she would come over when I was little, she would bring like a book with her or something from usually American history. She was a big American history person. So reading those, I kind of stemmed off into European and like East Asian history, and that's kind of where like my love for history kind of exploded. So I love like the Mongols. I love Muslim history, the history of like North Africa and the like Anatolia, like that whole region. So um, that's kind of what sparked it was my aunt giving me books, and then when I went to college, you kind of get to learn so much more about places you've never experienced.
Definitely. And you said you studied history in college. What was that like?
It was fun.
Yeah.
When the professors are into it, it's one of the coolest experiences you
Right.
can have. I took a Greco-Roman history course, and the guy went. He only offered it one semester a year, um, because the rest of the time he was in Greece, like excavating stuff. So, like hearing from him, some guy that dedicated his whole life to finding artifacts on this, um, was like breathtaking and super like humbling in a way.
Yeah, definitely. That's someone who really lives it, and that's why they're only able to do it once a year. Um, so for people who don't know, Pirate Radio, the name of my podcast, the reason it started was I think the FCC were like super strict in England and Ireland in around the 70s when rock was becoming more popular, and these group of people decided to have a boat with a radio line and go out where the radio waves couldn't be controlled and stream rock and all this like counterculture stuff to the people of England and Ireland. That's why I created the podcast name. But I bring that up because you also have a shared love for pirates. And how did you start to learn about that?
Yeah. So I went to there's a bookstore in New York City where the entire first floor is antique books, and then the entire second floor is antique maps.
Wow.
Uh, let you kind of go in and look at maps from all across the world. So you would pick a region. So I picked the Caribbean, and you kind of got to see all of these different um, maps and how they changed over time. So you'd be looking at one from 2 years before the one you just looked at, and it was completely different. And I found that fascinating. So that led me to listen to what caused those names to change. And a lot of it is real life events that happened. And a lot of that had to tie into piracy. So famous pirates from like England, France, the Netherlands, even China, like kind of impacted the physical like landmarks that we know today.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like interesting, like you said, because it's changing in real time. You get to see the difference in the photography and the maps. One thing, video game wise, that I would really recommend is Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, all based around pirates and piracy. So have you played that?
Uh, Not enough. I
Not
played
enough.
a little bit of it at a friend's house, but I've never like played through the campaign myself. That's
Yeah.
something to do.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed is my favorite franchise, and that's up there for my favorite game in the series. So I would check it out, and they're going to remaster it. I think it comes out next month. So if you're
So
interested, yeah, there you go. Perfect. Um, Thank you, Kyle, for coming on. Thank you for being a great teammate, continuing to grow the community. But before we let you go, I definitely want to get into our signature questions. The first being, if you could have dinner with any celebrity or athlete, who would it be and why?
So I was shocked he was an honorable mention on your list for favorite Knicks of all time. He's probably my number two favorite Knick of all time, Walt Clyde Frazier. I would go to
Nice.
him. He tells a story probably like once every couple seasons of him, uh, where his vocabulary stemmed from and how he started like learning all the rhyming words and kind of elevating his style and stuff. And I just feel like it'd be a fascinating person's brain to pick. He's got so much history with the city and the team and life
Yeah.
in general.
And we didn't even mention the suits. Maybe the best part.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, definitely a big part. I would love to see what Sudi pulled up for our one-on-one dinner. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah. Imagine if he showed up in like a t-shirt and shorts and just totally dissed it.
Walk out. Walk
Yeah,
out.
exactly. No, that's a great pick. One that hasn't been picked yet, which I always appreciate. And like even just his announcing career is so amazing and so much fun to listen to with the vocabulary, like you said. But that's not even to speak about his playing career and winning two championships for the Knicks and playing for the Cavs and just being all out just amazing guy. So that's a really good pick. Next one up is if you could nominate a guest, join us next on Pirate Radio.
So I thought a lot about this, and I have two. I narrowed it down to two. So Ryan nominated myself. He nominated someone from Long Island Dodgeball. So I'm going to nominate one from Long Island Dodgeball, which I think would be Brenda. I think Brenda would be great on the pod.
Mhm.
Um, Fantastic player. She's someone who I would love to hear her reasoning behind how she asked players how she got better. She's one of the few people I know that didn't kind of funnel in originally on what they were already good at. So she, for example, kind of went to individual players that had strengths and asked them all about their strengths. So she
Right.
wasn't, you were a good catcher. She wasn't just asking the best catchers how they do it. She was going and asking what her weaknesses were and finding people that had strengths in those areas. So I feel like she'd be a really cool person to pick their brain on it. Plus, she multi-sport athlete. She does a lot of track stuff. She
Right. Yeah.
does the triathlons and things. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of fun.
She'd be great. And that's, I think, the second time she's been nominated. So now I definitely have to have her on. I can definitely talk to her about running, but also I didn't know that she has such a cerebral approach to improving and really picking out different aspects of her game and not being complacent. So I appreciate that too.
It was kind of fascinating to hear about a little bit from her. So it'd be cool to hear on a podcast setting.
Definitely.
Other nomination would be someone from Connecticut. So I'm going to throw it back to them.
Mark.
Uh, you both called me a big vibes guy. I think the vibes guy is Jackson Lamar. Jackson, Connecticut-based dodgeball player. I don't know if you know who he is.
I've heard his name, but I
He,
don't know who he is. No.
he did, so you probably will meet him this weekend.
Hmm?
Uh, I play with him on Kraken. So Minnesota was the first time we ever played on a team together. Fantastic vibes. If there's anyone that can kind of keep you out of your own head, keep the energy high, be a good communicator, it's him. He was such a good teammate to play with. I'm so glad he's on my team long term. Can't say enough nice things about the guy.
Definitely. We appreciate that. It's high praise coming from you. And it sounds like he's an all-time vibes guy, but an all-time name guy.
Yeah, yeah, it is a good name. Yeah,
With a shout out to Lamar Jackson and of course Jackson Lamar, the Ravens quarterback and the awesome dodgeball player. So Ryan, thank you again. We appreciate it. I'm glad we got our first successful podcast nomination to come to fruition. The next up will be Brenda and Jackson. So last up, hopefully no one can hear the siren raging in my background. Okay, good. It's like right there, but it just adds to it. So last up, thank you again. What is your outro song for the episode?
it's a song called "Party's Over" by Joey Valance and Bray. I
Right.
think it's epitome of an outro song.
All right, perfect, Kyle. Looking forward to seeing you at the next semi-pro, and thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man.